Recorded. Hello, friends. Had a little bit of a chaotic start before this, but we are here in person. I know it's been a while, which luckily it's been pretty. This draft, the Jags obviously not having a first round pick. It's not the draft where you need to have wall-to-wall minute access on prospects, but we're still here, doing a little quick pre-draft pod. But first of all, John, how are you, my friend?
Hey, we're good. We're here, we're vibing, and it's a great day
Yeah, I get
here
to
in
see this
Orlando.
man. This is not AI, by the way. This is not AI
No,
generated. This is all real.
I'm real, I
So.
promise.
But before we get too deep on the draft, we got to talk a little bit about the trade where the Falcons and the Jags agreed to trade Mason Smith for a Rook Ororo, just a straight up player for player swap, which I thought was really interesting because you don't really see those often. And I did some research onto the trade where not just the research, but even the NFL Stock Exchange podcast, they would talk a lot about the Falcons playing Rook kind of outside position, playing him at nose tackle where it's not really his strengths are. So, presumably they want Mason Smith to be more of that nose tackle for them and then for the Jags. Now we have Rook who can kind of be more of a three tech, more of a gap shooter guy. And especially considering that probably the biggest need on the roster was upgrading the pass rush, especially in interior for a guy who probably wasn't going to be on the roster and was inactive to Matt Dickerson. I mean, Gladstone kind of did his thing. So, like, I'm not saying Ororo's going to go out and have 10 sacks, but I mean, he had 3 sacks, 30 pressures last year. Mason Smith had 6 pressures. So, at the very least, even if it's not a gigantic upgrade, they at least improve the depth a little bit. Because even if Farouk goes out there and let's say he gets like 35 pressures, 4 sacks, you'll still take that, especially for what you traded for him. So I just thought it was really interesting because one thing when it comes to Gladstone is that they're not afraid to make moves at position of need and like they won't hold back from it. So I just thought it was really interesting. Shout out Jimmy Stones once again. And yeah, it was just I think definitely the most interesting part is now you don't have to go into this draft saying, okay, we need to take a three technique for depth. Obviously, they can still take one. It's not going to stop them, but it's a trade where the roster, it's improving the roster so you can go with more flexibility in the draft, which is always important. So
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a best player available kind of draft for Gladstone, Baselli, Cohen, and co. Um, We don't know, like, honestly, I have no idea who's in the draft. I mean, you can kind of like pinpoint positions of where they could tackle throughout the draft, maybe tight end depth, running back depth, offensive line depth. On the defensive side of the ball, more importantly, with defensive line depth, even after trading for Hororo and, linebacker depth, just anywhere on the field where they feel like they can get a little bit better, they're going to obviously try to do, whether they keep all, was it
they
12
have
picks?
11 picks. I
11?
don't they're I don't think they're making 11 picks just because it's not the bad enough roster for where you need 11 picks, especially when a lot of those picks are later in the draft. So I mean, maybe they try to do something to trade up, move up a little bit further, or but then we really need to trade back next year because they have 10 picks next year also. So we'll see what the strategy is, but it's definitely for once the Jazz can really just go with the BPA position and just, let the board fall to them, take who they want to take. I think they'll be inclined to take more D-line depth. Now they can probably go for they can probably go for an edge without having a forced defensive tackle. I feel a lot of times in mocks, it was pretty frequently either a defensive tackle or a linebacker. Now, I don't think they're going to take a linebacker that early just because of how they view linebacker and just even how like the Rams have viewed linebacker and Gladstone coming from that same tree. So to me, every time I did a mock draft, which I didn't do that many, which is so weird. It's so weird. Like I'm not in the shackles of doing mock drafts, hoping things will get better because I actually have some hope for once. But
And faith inside the current management that we have right
But
now.
every time I did do it mock, my first pick was pretty much almost always a defensive tackle, preferably like a three tech, a guy who could carry more pressure. Now, I mean, when it comes to this draft, I feel the D line, it's kind of been a roller coaster where I thought this draft was really deep at D line, and it is, but it's not star-studded. I feel you can get a good chunk of role players on like rounds 2 through 4, but you're not really getting a true superstar kind of guy. So they can kind of really focus on what they want to have. If they want another pure pass rusher, some of those guys are available, but they kind of have more flexibility where, Devon Hamilton's contract expires next year. Maybe they can just take another pure nose, another guy to eat up space and replace him next year. They have that flexibility now more. So they can kind of go pretty much any option. It's just there's a lot of rumors that they're taking a running back very early, which as a Bashal Tutin keeper, I will not be happy if they take another running back, but you know, we'll see how it goes. I mean, even last year. There are rumors that it was Genty at 5. If they stayed at 5 to pick, they really liked RJ Harvey in the draft. So, maybe Cohen's just horny for running backs. I mean, hell, even some like McVay and Shanahan, those guys take running backs a lot for some reason, even when they already have guys. So
Yeah, they have well they had Williams, Kyron Williams
they
and
took Blake Corum in the third
Blake
round.
Corum, and then they had Jarquez Hunter on that roster too last year as well.
Yeah.
So
Shout out John Shipley. He said the stat that the Rams from 2018 to 2014 took a running back every single draft. So they're definitely taking a running back. I can't tell how
where,
early.
yeah.
I personally I can live with anything after like
I would
th-
say day three. If it's any day three pick,
they're
whatever.
gonna
I don't
when
know.
they draft a running back at 88, I'm just going to but in Gladstone and Cole we trust. Maybe it's just part of the thing where the smarter head coaches, sometimes the crazier they think they're so smart that they have to like make a pick because it's not even just like a Cohen. I don't know. Maybe it's just a McVay Shanny thing where they just see running backs and say I can fix him. But
See, I wouldn't even be upset if they took a tight end, even like within the day two picks, because I feel like that's even more important than a running back. But hey, what do we know, right?
it's kind of funny you mentioned that because I remember in this tight end class, a lot of guys who are in the Jags like ballpark for if starting from 56, but kind of up until their last pick in the day 3 at 100, they have a solid like blocker guys. And even just thinking back to 3 years ago when everyone like Evan Ingram, free agent, not free agent, but Evan Ingram was like 29, and it was a very deep tight end class. And they took Brent Strange in the second round, and I was so confused because I was like, "Who is this guy?" Like, even as deep of a draft aficionado I was during that time, and I wanted to draft a tight end, I had no clue who Brenton Strange was. So that early, maybe we'll see them take another tight end. I'm not saying it has to be a tight end early, but one guy I know Ship is also a fan of is Georgia tight end Oscar Delp. I think preferably what they really want to do with tight ends is have another blocker that can be a decent threat to catch the ball. I mean, we saw even kind of last year how as it got deeper in the season, Quinn Morris became more of a tight end too, just because he was like the best blocker that could also catch a little bit. Like Hunter Long wasn't really a blocker. Munt couldn't really catch that much. So Morris was able to kind of be the best of both worlds. But I mean, outside of Brand Strange, who's in a contract year, hopefully they re-sign him back. Quinn Morris, their tight ends are Patrick Herbert, and so yeah, they could probably use another tight end.
The fact you had to think about it, like,
I really couldn't say anything. And then even at linebacker, obviously they lost Devin Lloyd, but I said before, I don't think this staff is super like values linebacker super early in the draft, even given not just the Rams' tendencies, but we'll see how things go. Maybe the best player on the board at 56 is a linebacker, and he's head and shoulders better than anybody else. So they take him, but I'd be surprised if they take a running back. Or in fact, my prediction is that they take a running back before a linebacker, which is gonna make me so pissed off, but that's probably what's gonna happen. I don't want to be right, but that's my prediction of it. So
what a weird like change from a year ago though, where we needed like just like stars, and now we're just like, oh man, I'll be upset if we took a running back over a linebacker. But I'd rather try to. It's impossible to replace the 5 interceptions that Devin Lloyd had last year, but I can get close.
is Camp the linebacker whisperer, so you can just get anybody?
They really spoke highly about Ventrell Miller, so he's obviously the current like front runner to replace him in those snaps. But other than that,
I think you
you
still
need
should
more
at least, yeah,
competition.
get
Yeah, that's what I meant.
competition.
That
Because, I mean, it's
whether that's,
Foye, Ventrell Miller, Jack Kaiser. I feel I'm forgetting somebody else still
not that
because
I remember.
I,
There's definitely like guys, special
there's
team
probably like a
guys,
special team who plays linebacker.
like
I
Combs.
just
I
can't.
remember it's like Combs on that.
Branson Combs, I think is his name. I don't know.
We're cooked.
I
We're
mean,
cooked.
they have Campanelli, so hopefully they'll be fine. We'll see how early they target linebacker because I think it's very interesting. Where that's probably one of the
Didn't we
few
draft somebody from
needs.
Auburn last year? They never got any game time.
I think he was more of like a Dennis Garrett type of linebacker,
Okay, or like
where
Yasir Abdullah kind
yeah,
of
like
player.
those kinds of guys.
Because that's a contract
Jalen
year for
McLeod,
Abdullah is
who yeah, he was solid on special teams. I'll give Abdullah that. So even just like a traditional linebacker. This class has options, so I feel this kind of matches more so like it fits the Jags and like it's not a superstar heavy class, but they don't need a superstar. They need a couple role players in this class. So it's still very interesting. I'm also very curious what they do with the offensive line because at least to me, I don't think they need once hopefully we'll see what happens with Cole Van Lannon because that to me is the biggest question mark where obviously he got hurt last week of the season, so not 100%. You still have Walker Little, who I think he probably, if you floated around Walker Little, there'd probably be a few teams who would offer something just because he can play offensive line, and offensive line is so bad in the league. Like, granted, you don't want to keep him on that contract, but you don't want to just give up depth for nothing. So I'll be very curious where they go because I feel they need a tackle more than they need a guard.
well, I just
And
remember hearing over last year too, where we wanted to see where Wyatt Milam would kind of end up, and from
well,
what
he
we
had some
heard,
flashes at guard.
yeah, but apparently his best position at practice was left tackle, which was his natural position back at
He did
West
play
Virginia.
yeah, left tackle at West Virginia
So,
also.
I don't know if they ever gonna like try, even if it's just in camp or in preseason. I kind of like wonder if they're gonna give him a bit more go because Cole Van Lannon might be still missing some time during camp. But I mean, what we expect is that he will be back. He'll be good for the preseason. Maybe he won't get like a lot of reps and just kind of get ready for the regular season. But they didn't pay him all that money to like not be a starter on this roster if he's good
Yeah.
to go day one.
So I'll be very curious what happens with O-line because they probably will take a player just because you kind of have to take a player in the O-line, like just for depth purposes. How early will they do it? I mean, if they drafted an O-line with their first pick, I wouldn't even be upset because at the very least you're reinforcing the most important position to have depth at. So maybe they take O-line 56. I wouldn't be offended by it.
Yeah, I
We'll
mean,
see
they
how.
also picked up Anton Harrison's
Yeah,
fifth
Anton's
year
fifth year.
option to
So
pick up.
at the very least, you have a like offensive tackle, assuming they re-sign Anton, which is probably the goal. Offensive tackles, pretty set for now. Center solid with Hainsey. I mean, you have solid guard depth with Milam. I mean, you've got Ezra the X Factor, and then I mean, I feel
John,
McCary's yeah, McCary's still kind of the like
the right guard. He's kind of the odd man out, but they paid him last offseason.
they didn't pay him
So,
a lot, but he was also like kind of versatile. So even if he's just the sixth man, it's not the worst thing. So I'm very curious what they do with offensive line because do they go for a pure guard who can only play guard, but he's the best guard available? Do they try to go for a guy who's maybe not as good, but he can play tackle? You know,
are they going to replace Truman Adoga as kind of like the swing guy?
I think they probably replace Adoga because probably last man out. So even just upgrading the floor of the roster, upgrading the depth, I think that's really the goal is just to improve the depth because even thinking about like which starters are missing, I mean outside of I wanted to say ETN, but it's Travis Achan. Outside of losing Achan and Devin Lloyd, so which running back you already have enough guys who can fill the void. You're missing a starting linebacker who they have an idea of who they want it to be. I mean, the O-line set to return most of the starters, receiver core, most of the guys, defense is most of the guys. So you're not really losing a ton of starters, or you need to go in this draft and we have to have this guy to start first day one. it's kind of just okay, we'll get good players for depth and we'll just kind of go from there. It's just what a 180. Like compared to last year where the sky was falling, not the sky was falling, but new GM,
Like we
everything's
had optimism, but we had no idea where we were going. It's
everything
kind
was
of
just it's
scary.
not bulky, so it can't be that bad. And it wasn't. It was pretty good. So,
It was pretty damn good, honestly.
it's just we're in a very interesting spot for a Jags fan. So hopefully, keep this rolling and just continue to be a good team where the draft is not that exciting. Like you kind of want the draft to be boring
This is
for
the
your
best
team.
feeling. Yeah, being a
The
Jags
draft
fan.
isn't
Do
like
or die for us
we're
to.
like if we don't get this player in the draft, our team is screwed because they can't sign anybody. Like no, they actually have hope and they feel like they actually have a solid game plan. So, we'll see what happens, how they approach this draft, what they decide to do. But even just the fact that there's not that much to talk about is like it's bad for content, but it's good for the team because it's like the team itself is relatively solid.
Yeah.
They don't have glaring holes in the depth chart where like we need to get this filled or else we're cooked. I mean, if the only position I'm really worried about is linebacker and backup three tech and one tech, then you're in a pretty solid spot. So, because even most of the guys that they would draft for the D line would just be rotational players, not a player to start. I mean, if you're drafting an edge, obviously he's not starting over Josh Hindon and Trayvon, but just to rotate in with BJ Green and Danny Strigo. If you're drafting a defensive tackle, just another guy in rotation to be in there.
Maybe potentially replace Eric Armstead too after
Yeah,
this
I
year.
mean, I feel they definitely are considering it. I know there's this one of someone I follow on Twitter. He's an Armstead hater, so he said he wants him gone this draft. I don't think it's happening this draft, but they definitely will try to they'll probably at least look at it where even like okay, we have a row. Do they go for another three tech, another one tech? Maybe they get both in this draft. I mean, you know, there's so many options that they can truly just go BPA. They don't even have to force anything. It's
That's
so
how the good team.
boring.
That's how the good teams work, though.
And there's not much to
Oh,
talk
this
about.
guy might not be a team need, but he's going to be a roster or player that will contribute like day one onwards. I mean, you're not going to complain about that.
It's a good problem to have. It's very boring.
It is super
But
boring.
like
It's,
even trying to think of just like what else to really talk about for the draft. I mean,
I
they
mean,
have
how many
picks.
top 100? Is it three or
They
four?
have four top
Four.
100. I
I
think
said
literally the
four.
last pick is the 100th pick, which is hilarious that they don't have any picks in the top 50, top 55, and they still have four picks in the top 100. So shout out to Detroit for that trade last year, allowing us to really be flexible with the third round. So yeah, we'll kind of see how anything goes, but as of now, it's just
It's just a wait and see. Like I said, it's just not a fun. It's not as fun to talk about, but it's definitely feel more relaxed about the long term
yeah,
picture about the Jacksonville Jaguars, which we can't say that we've had this feeling for a while.
ever happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's mainly we'll talk more about the players themselves in a couple days. Not
I can't
even
act like I'll be super excited for whoever joins the roster, which I definitely will be, but definitely we're going to have a deeper dive.
no, whoever they draft is going to be a future All-Pro, John.
Yeah,
You don't
you're
know
right.
that?
Oh, future Hall of Famer.
Future Hall is going to be a
Get the bust ready.
first team All-Prayer, a future All-Pro, three-time Pro Bowler, the best special teamer in the league. It'll only be like one bust. You can't be perfect in a draft,
Yeah.
but
It's going to be the second round pick.
But like all jokes aside, I mean, I feel there's not really much else to talk about for this draft. I mean, like we talk about guys we think they might like, but end of the day, it doesn't really matter until they pick the player. So
Yeah.
we'll kind of discuss the players more when they get selected. Then I can give a full breakdown because right now there's no point in talking about there's no point in talking about who they could draft at
It's not like
56.
last year or top five where we
Like yeah,
knew who the cream of the
like
crop
okay,
is.
like these are the guys who are gonna be here, and everything else is just to be determined. But yeah, I mean,
We
go
didn't, I
Magic, I guess. We have nothing else to talk about.
was gonna say we didn't end up with Mason Graham, which was, can you imagine if we stayed at five and took someone like that?
They would have taken Genty,
That's true.
and then we wouldn't have to hear running back talk, but it would just be funny. But
Yeah, I mean, 1-0, maybe 2-0 tonight. We'll see. I'm missing the game though for Baby Keem because I bought the tickets not knowing that's how the NBA would schedule it, but that's how the second year in a row I'm missing a Magic playoff game for a particular concert from a PG Lang performer. two
Who was
years
it
ago.
last year?
It was Kendrick and SZA last year.
Oh,
But that was the game five we got eliminated by Boston, so I'm glad I didn't get to watch it. Hopefully a lot different this year.
well, yeah, I mean, just it's very interesting. I mean, just we can talk a little more NBA playoffs as a whole, since the
We need a
draft is
fill.
kind of dead.
Yeah, I mean, I mean,
It's just crazy. Like we're so used to the Jags just being so abysmally dog water dookie that after 1 year, I mean, even when it was in the bulky era, I feel they were having later picks, but they definitely still had more holes on the roster to fix. Where I was like, we need to, hopefully get an offensive lineman. Which is why I didn't like the Strange pick at the time because I wanted them. I know everyone wanted to pick Osiris Torrance, which the Strange pick worked out, but everyone was like, we still need help at offensive line. So, you
Trevor
know,
Bach was just allergic to like filling team needs the way we asked for, and then it's of course turned out to where he doesn't have a job, and we were right about the guy for however many years he was our GM.
and that's the refreshing thing with comes to Gladstone is like even the Aurora trade, I'm not saying the three technique is fixed, but at least they tried, and it wasn't just we're gonna give Mason another year to get better. Like they recognize, okay, this dude might not make it, so let's try to get something for him, let's shop him around, and we'll see. So yeah, just we're heading into a good spot, and all I can ask for is just keep up the good vibes and just don't draft at running back before round four. So when they take Jarian Price in the second round, and I'm going to boom myself. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Because regardless, even if there's one pick that's going to make me scratch my head, I'm going to try to believe the rest of the process and, just try to be calm and stay patient. They have 11 picks, so you can't go 11 for 11 at the bat, unfortunately. I
As much
love for
as we
that to
want to,
happen,
yeah,
but
we who wouldn't? But it's the NFL draft. It's always, I
if
mean,
you can get four good players, then
yeah.
you'll be fine.
You just want the player to fit your system because every single one of these people coming into the draft are super talented. It's just you want to make sure it's the right people in the right place in the right scheme at the right time. That's just always how the NFL works. And hopefully we get to be more on the positive end. Even people are doubting Travis Hunter, but guess what? He was our first round pick this year too. So he's getting another chance to
That
make it
this
right.
course is so, bro. Literally, we knew that he was going to play more corner and not even like no receiver at all. But people were like, "What? He's not going to play offense at all?" Or all this discourse over something we knew since January. But that's neither here nor there. I can't wait for this season to get here
I just kind of tune it out because there's other things. So like keep
and
track
one
of
ear
when
out
it's
the other.
exactly. So, yeah, but that's for more to talk whenever we get by camp again. So, well, let's get through the NFL draft first, schedule release, and then we're just rocking and rolling on from there.
Oh, sounds good, my friend. Let's hope the Magic win tonight for your sanity.
I hope so
Um,
too.
Paolo, I will take back the slander I've given you if you do get this win for John.
He's just
Maybe
got to win a series
he'll be
first. We haven't won a
he'll
series.
be PBJ if he wins the
We
series.
haven't won a series since the Obama administration. Okay, we just need one series. I think I'll be okay with just one, but it's game two out of potentially seven, so it's a long way to go.
Anything could happen. Well, all
Exactly.
right, thank you everyone for listening once again. I know it's been a while, so we've been, as you can see, if you're watching this, I'm a little bit busy right now, but we still managed to balance it out. John's car almost actually got towed after this, so we had to do a re-recording. Because yeah, would have not been great, but we managed to avoid that. So really do appreciate anyone who stayed this far in the podcast is for listening. Thank you, appreciate you. And yeah, that's pretty much almost it. Just once again, if you have any need for athleisure wear, y'alljimmy.com doing a new summer drop soon. So anything else, my friend?
Like, subscribe, and just have a wonderful draft. So, I mean, like I said, this is the least stressful draft period I've had. Not even
We
like
get to
2018, I didn't
relax
feel like,
and kick our feet back.
I didn't even feel this relaxed for 2018. That's probably because we had a first round pick, but like, let's see how it goes.
All right, well, care everyone. From me and baby girl, thank you so much for watching.
Love you guys. Appreciate y'all.